Okay, welcome everyone. This is the Tuttle Twins discussion class, book 2, The Miraculous Pencil. This is the February 2022 class, and this is the Saturday 5 p.m. class, and this is week 3. We're going to talk all about prices, the price mechanism, price gouging, maybe even predatory pricing and undercutting and collusion and all that fun stuff about prices. So first thing I always ask is, what is the price mechanism? Can somebody give me a definition of it? What is it? Wait, Eric and John, you're on mute.
We didn't have anything to say. We were just talking to each other.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Anybody else? What do you guys think? What are prices? Well, first of all, just what are prices? Forget about mechanism. Just what are prices?
Prices are the cost and value of certain things, mostly by the country's currency. Usually that's how they measure.
Excellent, excellent. I'm very
Wait,
happy.
I know it.
I'm very happy you said. Yeah, hold on. I'm very happy you said currency, not money. That shows you took my other class, right? Excellent answer. All right, Jaden, what are you gonna say?
A price is something that something that someone is willing to give up for something. And when two people agree on
All right, that's a good answer too. Yeah, both people have to come in agreement with the price, right?
Yeah.
And if they're not in agreement, guess what? The trade doesn't happen, right? So both people have to come in agreement. So it has to be. So trade is what? What did we say before? Trade is what?
You need to agree with the other person that you're gonna trade.
Well, what I was saying is trade is win-win or win-lose. What do you think?
Win-win.
Always win-win, right? Yeah. Eric, what are you gonna say?
Actually, it doesn't always have to be win-win, because some people are forced to trade certain things for others, but it's still a loss.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go further into that. I just want to say hi to Rui. And is that Nathaniel right there?
Hello.
Is that Nathaniel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Nathaniel. Welcome. And Rui, welcome. All right. Cool. All right. So, okay, let's just go over what Eric said. So you said sometimes people are poor, and so they're forced to make a decision that you said where they lose. You said.
It's not only for poor people. I can just kind of think of situations where someone is forced to make a trade-off or decision that no matter what makes them lose.
Okay, so give me an example.
I can't really think of one, but I know that there's an example.
All right, so let's say someone is really, really poor, and let's say let's see, they can't afford meat, let's say, right? So they can only afford vegetables, right? Because meat is much more expensive than vegetables. So they're only buying vegetables, right? But let's say one day they want to buy meat, and so they say, you know what, I'm gonna forego buying vegetables because I can't afford like a lot. So did they lose in buying meat if they have to not buy vegetables? What do you think? Did they lose in that instance? What do you think?
Yeah.
Who said yes?
Me? Yasin?
Oh, Yasin. Okay. Why do you think they lost? You said they lost if they bought meat instead of vegetables. Why would they lose?
Because they're forced, because they have vegetables every day and they want to try meat, so they're their body forces them.
Okay. So Paul, what are you gonna say?
I was gonna say, so maybe in a pawn shop where you're willing to trade something let's say an old Spider-Man comic, and nobody else is gonna take it. No, you've been to any other pawn shop, but they'll take it, but you don't like the thing and you want to get rid of it, then you kind of have to then. So
Okay.
something like that, maybe.
All right. So that's a different thing though, because what I gave this example very specifically because Eric and John said you're poor, right? And so you have to make this trade. So hold on, Eric. Let me see, Ava. What were you gonna say, Ava?
What I was gonna say is that it's kind of like Eric and John, what they said, but it's a bit different. Like they are poor, but they also need it if they buy something they need, and they're not gonna do it they're not gonna do it for themselves, and they're poor. They're losing their money because they might be doing it for someone else, not themselves.
You might be doing it for someone else and not themselves. Okay. All right. So Eric and John. So what do you want to say?
I have an example where
Good.
it would always be like a loss
Go
in
ahead.
healthcare. So some people, like, because there's no universal healthcare, some people can't afford healthcare. So when they get sick, they're like forced to go, when they get seriously ill, they're
Okay.
forced to like go bankrupt
Okay.
because they have to pay so much money for healthcare.
Right.
So that would be a forced loss.
Forced loss. Okay. So let me hear from who's got Rui. What are you gonna say?
So I just want to add on quickly. I mean, technically, it is in a way forced, but that person's agreeing to it. And the trade would be, well, if they didn't do the trade, then the situation would be even worse because that person would be, well, dead.
So are you talking about the healthcare situation or the buying the meat instead of the vegetables?
Sorry, I'm talking about the healthcare situation.
Okay.
But also applies for other situations. Like
Okay.
even if you're in like a desperate trade, let's say no one buys your product, but you just really want someone to buy your product, and then for maybe not the best price, you would only get it for maybe not the best price if you knew that otherwise your situation would even be worse. So a trade should always be good because if you didn't have that trade, your situation would probably be even worse.
Okay, that's a good point. So just having the very option to trade or buy something actually improves your position, right? That's a good point. So Jaden, what are you gonna say?
I have a good question.
All right, go ahead.
So if you were stranded on an island, you
Yeah.
had no food, no water, no anything.
Yeah.
Would you rather a diamond or would you rather have a bottle of water?
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the diamond water paradox. We're going to talk about that too. But okay, I just want to take care of this because this is a really good question that Eric and John brought up, which is sometimes you would lose in a situation in a trade, right? And I think Rui mentioned something really good, which is just the very fact that you have the possibility to make a trade is a wonderful thing, right? Because, for example, imagine if, okay, let's talk about the healthcare problem, right? You're sick and you can't afford the healthcare. So isn't that a bad thing? Well, I mean, okay, number one, healthcare can't be free, right? Tell me, this is great for the prices topic we're talking about. Why can't healthcare be free? Like I think Eric and John mentioned, you mentioned universal healthcare, right? It would be great if it was free and if everybody can have access, but why couldn't it be free? What's the problem with that? So Eric and John, go ahead. Oh, Luca and Isabella, you made it. Welcome.
Actually, can we say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is what I think. I
Right.
think actually it can be free because John and I both made arguments on why free college and universal healthcare can be free. Because first of all, universal healthcare, there are studies that show that it may actually make the US like pay less, except I'm not going to go save money, except I'm not going to go do it. And plus the US spends like so much money on military. In 2021, they spent more money on military than the next 9 countries combined. So why can't they? They just take a little bit of money out of the military, and then they have the money for it. But I think because people are greedy. I think that's why.
Okay, excellent points, and you're very right that the U.S. spends a vast amount of money on military and war and invasions, and setting up bases in other countries, right? Vast amounts of money. I think it's like they spend more than like the next 20 countries combined, something crazy like that, right? So much currency they spend. And okay, so when you say you said they can spend it on whatever, healthcare or colleges. So you have to specify when you say they. I assume you mean the government, right? Eric and John?
Yeah.
You mean the
Yeah.
government? Okay,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So basically, what I'm getting at is that everything, and okay, here's what okay, we have to talk about the basics of what prices are, right? What determines the price? A couple of things, right? Supply, demand, right? How much people, how much the market can supply something, how much people actually need it or want it, and also, another idea is scarcity, right? Scarcity is so important, right? So the idea with scarcity is that everybody cannot have everything at the same time. You can't have everything you want, right? We all want a lot of things, whatever you like, whatever food you like, whatever toys you like, whatever games you like, whatever you like, whatever clothes you like, you cannot have everything. Why? Because there is a limited supply of resources, right? Resources are always scarce because we live in the real world. It's like in the digital world, you can make copies of something really quick. You can just make a copy. There's not space is not as scarce on the internet or in the digital world, but in the real world, resources are definitely scarce. For example, here, the last pizza, right? How do you decide who gets what when everything is scarce at all times, right? How do you decide? There must be a way to determine the market price, right? Because
play rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, you can play rock, paper, scissors, right? So there must be a way. There must be a way for people to allocate resources, right? Distribute scarce resources, because we live in this is the nature of the world. Resources are scarce, so prices help us. They signal if a resource is needed in some place or if it's not needed in another place. Like if it's really, really needed in some place, then maybe the price is very high, which means that it's an incentive for businesses and people and entrepreneurs to start a business and make money and produce that thing, right? So so prices are basically, they're just signals. It's kind of like I think you guys, those of you who saw some of the videos, one great example was if you guys are sick, right, and your parents take your temperature, right, and then the temperature says, you guys have 101 fever, and then if your parents like break the thermometer and then write 98.6, does that improve your fever?
No.
No. So why? Because the problem is not the thermometer, right? The thermometer is just measuring your body temperature, right? And in the very same way, prices are just the prices themselves are not the problem. If something is too expensive or too cheap, that's not the issue. The issue is, why are they expensive? Why are they cheap, right? It's why is the thermometer high? Why is the thermometer reading that? Because you actually have a fever, right? So we have to not confuse prices with why they're like that, the true nature of reality. Yeah. Okay. So Rui, what are you gonna say?
So like, for example, if the government just prints more money, it's not like more resources are being made. It's just like that, well, I guess the money is worth less, I guess. It's not really like you're actually printing, like making more candy or more whatever. It's just
Good.
more money, and then
Good point. Yeah.
money, and then eventually the prices will go up too, and then it'll balance out. It's just basically like,
Yeah, good point. Good point. So why doesn't just printing currency? And by the way, Rui, I'm very specific, because when I talk about what the government is creating or printing, I always say currency, right? There's a difference between currency and money. Eric and John know that. I'm very specific about that. So what the government is printing is currency, and the question is, where does wealth come from, right? Is the wealth the currency or something else? What do you guys think? Where is the
The
wealth?
wealth is currency.
What is the wealth? No, the wealth is not the currency. Currency, they could just be printing anything, paper, monopoly money, funny money. They can print anything and call it whatever, Jaden bucks or Eric and John bucks. But does that make it valuable? Does that improve your life? Right? Yeah. Luca, what are you gonna say?
I was gonna say it's not wealth, but if you want to get that, then you have to get a job, and then you get wealth, and then when you get the money, you get something.
Right. So the money is the intermediary, the middle, the commodity that everybody wants, right? So Ava, what were you gonna say?
Oh, sorry. So I was. Wait,
Okay.
is my hand up?
It was. You forgot your question?
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. No problem.
Immediately.
That's all right. That's all right. All right. So let's look at this. So this is a very simple comparison, right? Why is the price system so important? Why is the price system allows people to globally communicate value of finite resources, right? Finite means limited. There's a scarcity in the world of resources, right? It doesn't mean we live in a desert. It just means that there's always a limited amount of resources. Nothing is unlimited. The only time we could probably say where resources are not scarce is a time when, imagine this, if you think, I want let's say I don't know, a cheeseburger. I want a cheeseburger, and then it appears in your hand immediately. In that moment, in that world, resources are no longer scarce, right? But in the world that we live in, if you want a cheeseburger and you can't afford it, what do you have to do? What do you have to do?
Buy one.
You have to buy one, right? And what do you need to buy? What do you need to buy it with?
Money.
Yeah, you need currency. And what if you don't have currency? Then what? Then what do you do?
And you don't buy a burger.
Or,
No,
or-
then
or-
go into the wild and get natural ingredients like wheat.
No, you starve.
Don't buy a burger.
okay, you can try to make it yourself, but that's going to be extremely difficult and
Also-
extremely expensive.
But don't you need to buy the ingredients? So if you don't,
yeah,
but-
yeah, exactly.
But you can also sell something and get money for it and then pay.
Okay, good. So we need to get currency. So how do you get it? Maybe you acquire some skills. Maybe you work for somebody. You trade some things that you have. So there's many different ways. So this is the idea. This is how we acquire things is through trade, and the price system is so important, right? And when the economies and the markets are free and they're not distorted by regulations, by laws, by taxation, by the state, basically, they are function freely, and resources gets distributed very nicely to where they're needed, right? And for example, so here is basically what happens in a really authoritarian regime, or socialistic or communistic country, right, where they control a lot of the food, a lot of the commodities and resources. And so what do you get when governments do this? You get scarcity. You get even more scarcity, and you get what's called shortages. Why? Because it's like prices, I said, transmit signals, right? So let's say you want to buy let's say you want to buy something from Malaysia, something from all the way out on the other side of the world in Malaysia, right? But the place where whatever it is you want to buy, I don't know, a special kind of, I don't know, ceramic or something that they make over there. But what if all of a sudden there's some kind of natural disaster, and what you want to buy, the place where it's being made, has been destroyed? So if you still want to buy it, the price will probably go up or go down. What do you guys think? What do you think? Yeah, the price will skyrocket. Yeah, Ava, what do you think?
They would take advantage of that, and the price would go all higher than it should be.
Okay, Luca, what are you gonna say?
I was gonna say it would go higher.
Oh, yeah.
But the reason why it would go way higher is because you're gonna get something from, per se, Africa. Then
Mhm.
Africa gets attacked.
Okay.
There's only 2 more left in Africa. then you want to raise the prices, then a lot of people are going to try to get it before they're extinct. If items
Yeah. Okay. So it what prices do is they reflect what's happening in other parts of the world where these resources are acquired, right? So for example, let's say ceramics from Malaysia, right? If something happens, if there's a tsunami or some kind of hurricane that happens over there, destroys the places where they make these ceramic pots, let's say, if you want to continue buying it, it's going to be much more expensive because now it's more difficult to make, right? And so what does that do? It becomes more expensive. Now some people would say, well, they're just raising the prices because they want to make more money. But I would say that no, that's not the reason. I would say the reason they're raising prices is because now it's much more difficult for them to produce whatever that is. And the more people purchase it, even if it's expensive, let's say, the more people purchase it, the more money is going to that place, and the more they can rebuild, and the more they can build other let's say factories, and then they can start producing it at a cheaper price. Or because it's more expensive, maybe other business owners will say, you know what, there's a lot of money to be made in ceramics, because look, right now the ceramics from Malaysia is very expensive. So let me go into the business of ceramics, and I'm going to try to lower the price for people, because the high prices means they have high possibility for profit, right? But and so it attracts a lot of business owners to come and enter the market, right? So that's what it does. So here's another interesting example of what happens in authoritarian countries, where there's a lot of controls over prices and over the market, right? This is kind of a is a play on the Last Supper from the Bible. Yeah, Ava, what are you gonna say?
I don't really get it. Why is he saying due to the food shortage?
Okay, so somebody want to try to explain it? What does this mean? Eric and John.
Well, first of all, I think you said money instead of currency back.
You called me. Excellent.
And second of all, due to the food shortages is because food shortages means that there's little food. The food is short, so there's not enough food to like really feed many people. So this will be our last supper because there's like no more food.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a joke. So anyone else have their hand raised? So guys, remember, if you raise your hand digitally, it's a little bit easier because you guys are a lot of people. Who else? Anyone else had their hand raised? Paul or Jaden? No? Oh, okay. Paul, what are you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, because it's, it's kind of hard to explain actually.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I would just say
about communism.
Yeah, anytime the government involves itself, restricts market transactions, regulates market transactions, taxes market transactions, this distorts prices, right? This distorts trade. People no longer trade freely. They have to curb their behavior. They have to accommodate for all these restrictions. And guess what? Okay, let's say this actually happens very frequently. So everybody knows who Elon Musk is, right? Okay, he made Tesla. So where Elon Musk used to live in California, and he used to have his Tesla factory in California, but I think he moved it. I know he moved out of California. I'm not sure if he moved his Tesla factory out of California. So why do you think he moved out of California? Can anyone tell me? Why did he move out of California? Ava, what do you think?
This is probably not what happened, but I'm just making up something for my opinion.
Okay.
Maybe because when he was making his Teslas, the prices were going up and to a point he could afford it. And in other places there wasn't as expensive tires and stuff. And so he moved there because he couldn't afford anything in California, I think.
Okay. All right.
So,
all right.
yeah.
All right. Good answer. All right, Luca, what do you think?
Maybe. So if his factory's still in California, maybe he was going to make another location so he can have more Teslas instead of one location. and when he sells them, maybe at the second one he can sell them at a lower price
Mhm.
to get people attracted to the second site. And when
Right.
he gets more sites, then he can get a better profit out of it.
Right. Okay. Good answer. Good answer. Yassine, what do you think?
I think that actually, he wants to like, because he only has one company, so he actually wants to get another company, and work like together and get like millions of dollars. So like he wants to raise himself like rich.
Yeah. The more money, yeah. So he's a businessman, right? So he's making, let's say he's got many businesses, by the way. So Tesla just one business, right? So if he wants to sell more Teslas, he wants to do it at a lower price so more people can afford and more people can buy it, right? So that's, yeah, definitely business owners, definitely they want to make more money, and when they make more money, they invest in their business and they make it more efficient and cheaper for the consumer. So Jaden, what do you think? What were you going to say?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say that he probably moved from California because the prices were too high.
The prices of what? What do you mean the prices?
Prices to like, because everything's expensive in California.
Why is it expensive in California?
I have no idea. Everything's
right,
just expensive in California.
That's a good
I
question.
think I know.
All right, hold on. So Eric and John, what do you think?
I think the answer to this question is because the productivity price of the electric car, of the Teslas he was making
Yeah.
was pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So if he raised the price of his Teslas himself, like the consumers would like better prices better because they lower prices better because they lower prices, like they would prefer lower prices, but so they didn't buy the Teslas as much, but because the production like cost was high, he
Mhm.
had to do high prices. So it was
yes.
better to go to another place where the production cost is lower, so he
Yes.
can lower the cost of his car so more people would buy them.
Good. So you're talking about production cost. That's a very important idea. Now the question is, why is the production cost so high? So Luca, what do you think?
Well, I was going to say something on another thing,
Go ahead.
but I'll answer that question first.
Go ahead.
The production cost is so high because it depends. Because Tesla, it's a very good company.
Yeah.
Electric car. So at first he sold them for a low price. Now it's getting higher.
Yeah.
But the production, he's trying to keep the price at a good steady place. So when he gets some supplies
Mhm.
for the workers or machines to make Teslas,
Mhm.
he still has money left over in his pocket. So his profits are still up.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. So good answer. So okay, the productivity or the production cost, that's very important when a business is operating, right? How much does it cost to get your the raw materials or the ingredients to make your product, right? How much does it, and then if you have workers, right, how much does it cost to pay your workers, right? How much does it cost to maintain the factory, the lights and the heating and the gas and all that, right? You got to take all these things into account, right? For you to determine what something will cost in the end product, right? So a major reason why a lot, not only Tesla, by the way, a lot of people and businesses are leaving California. Rui said inflation. Yes. Okay. Inflation is a major reason now, but another reason is what's different about California and other surrounding states is California is extremely authoritarian in terms of regulation. They regulate their businesses a lot, right? And so for every time the government passes laws saying that every business, this business must do this, that you must comply with this and this and this and this, all these regulations, that costs money to comply with all these regulations. So the more regulations are passed, the more money they have to spend to comply with those regulations, then that means the more expensive the product will be, right? So if he can move to a place let's say Arizona, right, where there's a lot less regulations, and he can function, he can operate his business with a lot less regulation. What does that mean? That means that his product can be a lot cheaper, and then who benefits in the end? Who benefits in the end? What do you think?
Everyone.
The consumer, right? People who want to buy, right? So this is why businesses are always seeking how to save money, how to be more efficient with the resources that they have. Very important, right? So this is an example. This we see right here, a free market economy, right? We have people buying and selling, right? That results in profit and income, right? And businessman has a lot more profit. What does he do? He reinvests into his business, making it even more efficient, even more cheaper. And what does that do? Increases the happiness of people for the most part. Okay, let me ask you guys this. Does anybody here have experience with making a business at all? Does anybody here have any experience? Ava.
Well, it's not really my experience, but my parents own a business, and they told me how they got their business and how hard it was at first.
Okay.
That's what they told me.
All right. So has anyone go ahead.
I kind of do. I kind of have helped my brother.
You helped your
With
brother
his.
do what?
He collects sports cards.
And then he sells them.
Yes, he sells and buys.
Cool. All right. That's an interesting business. Has anyone here ever tried lemon? Oh, sorry. Rui. Yeah. Inhris. Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, you said more easier earlier. Anyways.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that.
And second of all, so I have not created a business. However, there's a friend I know that has. His name is Joshua Cohen.
Yeah.
And he's making Squiddy merchandise. Squiddy is a very cute purple stuffed squid.
Okay.
He's very famous at our school.
Okay.
And Squiddy is very cute.
Yeah.
And so he makes this merchandise like Squiddy cups and Squiddy shirts and these things where you can actually wear and show that you support Squiddy.
Okay.
And he's basically
So the reason I ask about if any of you have started any businesses, or what about a lemonade stand? Anybody here try a lemonade stand? Who here tried it? A lot of kids try it. You all tried it? Yeah. Excellent. Now, how do you know how much to charge for your lemonade? How do you know? That's a price. How do you determine that price? What do you guys think? Luca, what do you think? How do you know how much to charge?
Well, at first I would go a low price, like I'll say 75 cents.
Okay.
Lemonade. And cars drive by, and then when it gets a better, then you could go another 50 cents and add up from there.
Okay. Anyone else? No one else has their hand raised? Okay. So if it costs you, let's say okay. Oh, another thing I want to ask you guys, when you did the lemonade stand, did you guys buy the lemonades, the lemons and the sugar and the cups, or did your parents buy it for you?
I just use stuff from my house because my dad buys way too much.
Okay. All right. So what do you guys think? Did your parents buy you the supplies, or did you buy it? Ava.
Our parents.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't really. Well, yeah, my parents bought it for me, but I would have to repay them if they bought something.
Yeah. So okay. So that's really good if you had to repay them, right? Because if your parents are buying you the supplies, then it's kind of hard for you to figure out prices, right? Because if your own currency is in the business, right, then you're really acutely aware of the price and what you have to charge to make a profit, right? Because in order for you to grow your business, you must make a profit. If you are, let's say it costs you let's say it costs you $1 for each cup of lemonade, right? But you're charging 75 cents, right? So that means that you're losing 25 cents every cup. Is that a sustainable business? Can you continue to be in business in that business model? Definitely not. Definitely not. That's not a good business model, right? So a lot of people, when you talk about like business owners and profit, a lot of people see profit as like something bad or evil, right? But I will say that profit is one of the most wonderful things. It's a feedback. It's a feedback to you as a business owner, telling you that what you're producing, people actually want, right? It's feedback. So that is the beautiful thing about a business, right? You want to try to satisfy the customer, please the customer, right? And the other thing is, lemonade stands. There's good ways to do it, and then there's bad ways to do it, right? So if you're just in front of your house, probably not the best way. But let's say you go to the park, right? Let's say you go to the park where there's a lot of kids, and then you open a lemonade stand. That might be a great place to do it, right? So location is very important, right? So
Yeah,
yeah.
I just do it in front of my house. No one
Yeah.
ever comes. I almost got one person. I almost got one.
You have to go to where the business is. You have to go to where the business is, right? So this is another interesting idea of people who support free markets, right, and capitalism, because the abundance that we see in the grocery store, it's a miracle if you think about it. It's a miracle that all this stuff ends up in the grocery store, and all we have to do is go to the grocery store and pick what we want. You don't have to ride hours and hours and hours to the farmer to get whatever you need. You can go to the grocery store. It's a pretty amazing thing. So that's it's a miracle. So okay, so let's talk about the diamond and the diamond water paradox now. So the question is, here's the paradox, right? What is more valuable, a diamond or a water bottle? What do you guys
A
think?
diamond.
What do you guys think?
A
What is
water
more
bottle.
valuable?
A water bottle.
Depends on the
I think it's water.
circumstances.
That you would have
Wait.
like value.
Depends on
But
what you're doing.
Okay. Hold on. One at a time. Okay, so I hear diamond and water, and then I heard depends on the circumstances. Who said depends on the circumstances?
I did.
Luca and
So did
Eric
I.
and John?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, that is the correct answer, right? How do we know what the value is of something, right? The price is, right? The price is only something. And by the way, there's something called the subjective theory of value. Did anybody check out? I think there was 1 or 2 videos on the subjective theory of value. Does anybody check that?
I did.
I think I did.
Okay,
I did.
okay, what is the subjective theory of value? Can anyone tell me?
So let's say, a normal, all right, so like a $3,000 pen,
Yeah.
and someone who collects pens and someone who doesn't. So a $3,000 pen is it has more value than the $3,000 to the other person because it's something that they like. So I do think they were on an island and they said, would you rather have a diamond or a water bottle?
Yeah.
They said a diamond. But let's say you were stranded in the desert.
Yeah.
And you had a crate full of diamonds.
Yeah.
No, or just one diamond, and they were selling water.
Yeah.
Would you give the water up? And you said, yeah, because it's under the certain circumstances.
Right. Anyone else want to add to that?
I fully agree.
Who said? Oh, Jaden, you fully agree, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Ava, you want to add something?
Oh,
No?
no.
Okay.
No, I just accidentally raised my hand.
Okay. So that's an excellent example of subjective theory of value. So we all have our own preferences, right? Some of you like, chocolate, some of you like vanilla, some of you don't even like ice cream at all. Some of you like, I don't know, hamburgers, hot dogs, some of you don't like meat at all, right? So we all have our own subjective value preferences, what we consider to be valuable, right? Somebody might love hamburgers so much they would pay, I don't know, $10 for a hamburger, but somebody might hate hamburgers so much that they wouldn't pay anything for a hamburger, right? So really, value is so personal to each person, right? And just like you said, another thing that determines value is the situation you're in, right? Water is abundant. It's all over. It's not really as, it is scarce, but it's not as scarce as diamonds. Oh, by the way, what's more scarce in terms of water is fresh water, right? Fresh water, as opposed to salt water. Salt water is in the oceans, right? That is really, really abundant. The problem is, so that is why you can be out in the ocean, if you're out in the ocean in a lifeboat, right? Is it a good idea to drink the water in the ocean? No. What happens to you? What happens to you if you drink the water in the ocean?
You may get a parasite and you will definitely get sick.
Yeah, you
Oh.
will get more thirsty than you.
Yeah, you would get more thirsty because of all the salt in there. So, and you may get a parasite. I mean,
Yeah.
and you will most likely get sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also, but
I mean,
if,
parasite, sorry.
if
not-
you're like in the middle of the ocean and it just rained
Yeah.
and like need water, you can try to get the very top of the water and drink it, because it's not, because seagulls do that because it like hasn't fully dissolved with like mixed in with the salt water, so the
That's interesting. I've never heard of that. That's pretty cool. So yeah, so ocean water or salt water is really abundant, but fresh water that we can actually drink is not so abundant. So that's a clarification. But anyway, so a water bottle, yeah, which is more valuable? It depends. It depends where you are, right? If you're in a market economy and you have water all around you, yeah, maybe a diamond is more valuable because you can trade it for more currency, and then you can buy 100 water bottles if you really wanted to, right? So it really depends on your circumstances. So yeah, okay. I'll also tell you that prices, if people through the market, they use prices, they can actually save the environment. Okay. Now, can you guys give me any examples of how people use the market process and capitalism to actually save the environment? Okay, anyone give me any examples? Because there are many examples of this. Luca, what do you think?
So I've seen this. So sometimes I see this Toyota commercial. So it says if you buy a car, Toyota plants one tree in the environment.
All right, that's cool.
People attention to get a car.
That's cool. That's cool. Anyone else want to give an example of how the market process or capitalism can, let's say, help to conserve resources? Okay. Eric and John, you have your hand raised?
I was thinking about Teslas, how they're like less harmful to the environment, but
Okay.
actually mine, because even if it wasn't like prices, it would still not make a difference, because if it was like communism or something, still people would still use it. So never mind.
Okay. Okay. So Ava, what are you gonna say?
Okay, so my example was there is a market where I live close to my mom and dad's practice.
Yeah.
It's called Taste Buds. It's where when everything you buy in the store, the more they like go out and see if they like go to they do an advertisement
Mhm.
of if you buy this, homeless people will get more food and water, because they're trying to like help the homeless people by people buying their food.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice. That's good. All right. Luca, what are you gonna say?
I was gonna say, so there's this. Well, this is kind of like it, but this is just something. So by my house, like 10 minutes away, place where they
Wait, hold on. I got a lot of background noise. Hold on. Who's got the background noise? All right, go ahead, Luca.
So there's this place by my house, and
Yeah.
all types of stuff like sunflowers to trees, and then when people buy them, they probably put them in the pot holder or in the yard, and it creates oxygen, and it brings in carbon dioxide.
Okay. Cool. All right, so let's think about this. Okay, so I said, how does the market process or capitalism or free trade, let's say, help to reduce waste and conserve resources, right? And this is an excellent example of an entrepreneur. So let's say, so there is a market for rhinoceros horns. Now, now, do you think rhinoceros horns are abundant or scarce? What do you guys think?
Scarce.
Extremely scarce. There's not that many rhinoceros in the world. Also, if you want to get the rhinoceros horn, guess what? You have to kill the rhinoceros, right? So there's actually a market for maybe, let's say, maybe hunters, maybe poachers that want to have a rhinoceros horn or a head on their wall. Or I know, because I'm a Chinese herbalist, I know that rhinoceros horn is actually a Chinese herb, right? So yeah, so the way that they try to eliminate people, the government can, it's a lot of times the government tries to let's say, for example, with rhinoceros, right? The government tries to prevent people from killing rhinoceros by cracking down on poachers, right? And trying to catch them, right? Or enact laws. But of course, there's people that find their ways around the laws all the time. And then even if there's laws, there's black markets, people doing it and selling it under the table, not declaring it, that kind of thing. So the government solution is frequently not the best solution, the most inefficient. Now, this guy, see, he's using a 3D printer. He 3D printed a fake rhinoceros horns. They carry the same genetic fingerprint as the actual horn. They flood the market with these fake horns. And guess what? Because there's so many more rhinoceros horns now on the market, now the price falls dramatically. And guess what? Now the poachers, they can't benefit from it, because they used to be extremely profitable. They would get all this money. Now, because of all this because they flood the market with all those fake rhinoceros horns, they're not getting that much profit. So guess what? Do you think that's going to incentivize the poachers to continue or to stop?
Stop.
Yeah, stop. So this is using the market process, an entrepreneur using the market process to conserve a very scarce resource. Okay, now let me ask you guys this. Before people used to heat their homes with like, let's say a gas heater or electric heater, what did they used to heat their homes with? Anybody know?
Fireplace.
Okay, firewood, but that's even older, right? So they used to heat their homes with kerosene. Anybody know what kerosene is?
No, I don't know what
kerosene is a byproduct of oil. It's a byproduct of oil. Now, kerosene actually, it's another example of the market process saving a really scarce resource. So what did before kerosene, people used to heat their homes with whale oil. Isn't that amazing? Whale oil. Now, do you think whales are abundant or scarce?
Extremely scarce.
Extremely scarce. Whales are huge, right? And in order to get whale oil, you have to kill an entire whale. So it's not a sustainable resources by any means, right? And so again, was it a law? Was it like Greenpeace? Was it like environmentalists that got people to stop killing whales? No, it was the market process discovering a new way to heat people's homes and provide light for people's homes in a cheaper way, right? Through kerosene, right? This is in the 1840s. Whale oil was replaced by kerosene, right? So that is an amazing advancement, right? And a lot of whales were they were almost extinct because of that practice, right? Because they hunted the whales almost to extinction, and then they were saved not by an environmental group, not by any state environmental agency. They were saved by the market process, right? Pretty amazing thing, right? All right, so let's see. Okay, so what have we been seeing in terms of prices? I mentioned in the beginning, parents are going crazy right now, right? Your parents are going crazy. The prices of gas. You guys hearing your parents complain about the price of gas lately? Everybody's complaining at the price of gas. So the question is, why is the price of gas expensive, right? Now, it could be many reasons, right? It's not just one reason, but oftentimes when a business raises its price, it's not just because they're greedy and they want more money, right? Because Because really, if there's really no reason for a business to raise their prices, they're just going to go out of business because the other businesses, the other gas stations are going to keep their prices low and they're going to steal all the business. And guess what? They're going to go out of business. So being greedy is not really a sufficient explanation for this, right? But if government, due to government regulation, taxation, due to increased laws and restrictions on trade, then that extra cost is passed on to the company and is therefore passed on to the consumer, right? And so this is a major reason why a lot of people are experiencing these gas prices, these gas hikes. Okay, now let's talk about price. We're going to talk about price gouging. There's three things: price gouging, predatory pricing, and collusion. Now, anybody know what price gouging is? What is price gouging? Anybody know? Anybody who did anybody check out the videos or look at what price gouging is? Okay. No? Okay, no problem. All right, so let's look at this. Let's look at this cartoon. What does this say? So there's three people in jail, right? Oh yeah, Berlin.
What I think price gouging is other people stealing other people's money.
Yes, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, that's definitely what it sounds like. It sounds like other people stealing other people's money. But I'm going to tell you that, again, greed is not a sufficient explanation for the behavior of people, right? People act rationally for the most part. We all act rationally. We all want to have a thriving business, right? And you know, no business exists in a vacuum, right? So if one business jacks up the price and tries to get a lot of money, guess what? What are other businesses going to do?
Nothing.
The same exact thing.
No, why would they do the same exact thing?
Wait, what did you say again? Sorry.
If one business jacks up the price, you know, let's say one business is greedy, it's like, I want more money, so I'm just going to raise the prices of all my stuff. What's going to happen? What are the other businesses going to do? Luca, what do you think?
They're going to keep their money as usual because then the people would only buy from them.
They're gonna do like so sometimes you get 50% off. So they're gonna make their prices lower so more people come to say gas stations. So they'll come to their gas station, and so instead of the other gas station, and the other gas station won't make any profit, the other gas station will.
Exactly. So if one company raises prices because, let's say, they're greedy, then another business will say, I'm not going to raise my prices. I'm going to keep it, or maybe I'll try to make it even cheaper so that I'm going to attract more customers. They're going to want to buy from me. And guess what? What's going to happen to the guy that raised his prices?
No one's gonna buy from him.
No one's going to buy from me. He's probably going to go out of business, right? So remember, no business exists in a vacuum, right? So greed is not a sufficient reason. So now let's look at this. What does it say? What are you in for, right? All these are in jail, right? This one says my business prices were higher than my competitors, so I was charged with price gouging, right? The government said I was price gouging. And then this one says my prices were lower than my competitors, so I was charged with predatory pricing. So that's what predatory pricing is, when a company charges something so low that they're putting other businesses out of business, right? So they call it predatory pricing or undercutting. And then this one says my prices were the same as my competitors, so I was charged with collusion. Or that's also known as a cartel, right? When a couple of businesses come together and they all charge the same price and they try to get destroy their competitors. So now the funny thing is about this cartoon is that doesn't matter what a business does, right? It could be charged with, it could basically be wrong in terms of the government, right? But what I'm going to be telling you is that I don't think that at all, right? How can a business be wrong in terms of its prices, right? Because people don't have to buy from a particular business, right? So now this is an example, let's say, of price gouging. Let's say this is an example of price gouging. What do you think? Do you think this is a bad thing, what this guy is doing, selling his snowballs? What do you guys think?
It's very not stupid, kind of not smart, because there's snow all over the place, so people can make snowballs themselves.
Okay. Ava, what do you think?
I think it's bad because, like, I think it's bad because, like, because like there is sort of like Eric and Jones, they could make their own, but also he's also, there might be another stand that's making the price higher and the kids can't really buy from it, and this guy's making the price to $2.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Okay.
that's
All right. So Rui, what were you gonna say?
Sorry. So here's the thing. This guy's obviously either like not smart or he just hypnotized the kid into being very
Okay.
strange, let's just say. The
Okay.
fact that maybe that boy lost half of his brain or something. I feel bad for it. Anyway, so here's the thing. He does not, these snowballs are totally unnecessary because literally there's snow everywhere. But it's
Yeah.
not like he's evil. I mean, it is a fair trade unless he's hypnotizing that boy.
Right.
It's not. It's like, it's not really him to blame, really. He does that crazy business.
Okay.
That guy, that boy chose to buy his snowballs with his own free will. So
Yeah.
just
Okay.
like some spin.
That's a very important point. He chose to buy it of his own free will. That's an excellent point. Okay, Eric and John, what are you gonna say?
I think actually, the person may be smart. The person who, I think actually that person may be actually getting money because that guy is just getting bombarded by snowballs from these bullies.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe either he doesn't know how to make snowballs, he doesn't have enough time to make snowballs, or it's just more efficient. Yeah, he doesn't have enough time. So that guy's kind of like, he just really wants to stop,
Get the bullies back or something with
yeah,
snowballs.
so he's
Yeah.
kind of that guy.
Yeah. Good points. So Rui, great point about this is his free choice. He's not being forced to buy these snowballs. Like you all said, there's snow everywhere. Why isn't he making his own snowballs, right? So the reason that he's not making his own snowballs, that means that he doesn't want to make his own snowballs. It means that he thinks it's a better trade he values 10 snowballs more than his $2. So he's going to give the $2 and he's going to be much happier because he doesn't have to spend the time and all the work to make the snowballs. And also like Eric said, it looks like these bullies are taking advantage of him. So he's happy to make this trade. This, again, win-win trade, right? This is a great example of an entrepreneur solving a problem, right? That's what entrepreneurs do. They solve problems, right? So he saw that this boy was being bullied. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to make the little snowball business. And it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea. So here's an interesting. Now, what do you guys think of this? So it says, he says, oh, great. First my prescription, now my toilet paper. Now, what does this cartoon mean to you guys? What does this mean to you guys?
During the pandemic, the prices of toilet paper skyrocketed.
Yes, it did. Berlin, what are you gonna say?
Prices keep rising for everything.
For everything. Okay, good. Inflation, that's true too. Ava, what are you gonna say?
It's called inflation.
Oh, yeah.
The price is like rising, like Eric and John said, but they're like gonna keep rising it every year, probably.
Yeah. So does anybody know why, like why was it that everybody was buying toilet paper during the lockdown? Why is that? Does anybody know why? Why toilet paper specifically? like I understand hand sanitizers and wipes because everybody was like afraid they're going to get sick and they want to clean their hands and everything. But why toilet paper? Can anybody tell me?
Because like it all started with like one person who some reason thought that toilet paper or a couple people, and then they bought all the toilet paper, and then other people saw, oh no, the toilet paper is gone, we gotta buy more toilet paper. And even more people saw that even more toilet paper was gone, so then everybody wanted to buy.
Okay. All right. So what do you think, Ava? Why was toilet paper people going crazy about toilet paper?
So I think
that they didn't have to
that there was like there because since I'm looking at something, sorry. Since the pandemic, there's been like a hard time. And like toilet paper is getting bought the most. I have no idea why. And then people are realizing that, and they're trying to, and then they realize that a bunch of people are buying toilet paper for some reason.
Yeah.
And maybe they just thought that they should do it as well since other people are doing it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't really know why people were buying toilet paper, but I don't know. But people just started buying a bunch of them, and then, I think because people were just panicking, right? So it was a fear-driven thing. Rui, you want to say something?
Sometimes when people are scared, they act irrationally. So like my dad bought like a lot of toilet paper. Honestly, if we were in such a big crisis, why would toilet paper matter so much? I mean, if our lives were in danger that much,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, and these guys look like they look like zombies, brainless zombies that can't think for themselves, and they follow this like zombie leader or something.
That's because they are brainless zombies.
So okay, so I'm gonna explain to you a little bit about. Okay, so Eric and John, you want to say something else?
It's kind of like tulip mania. What happened?
Yeah, right. Tulip mania. Good. Yeah, good referral to the to history, because yeah, tulip mania, for those of you who are not familiar, is where I believe it was in like 16th century Amsterdam, when people they were going crazy for tulip bulbs, and they were buying it, and because so many people were buying it, the price shot up, right? Demand increased, and so price increased as well. And it got so bad where people were like they were paying, like the price of a tulip bulb was like an entire year's work for for a commoner at that time. So yeah, so it's just a great example of like how intimately related prices are to demand, and also to how people feel. If they feel like something is scarce or going to run out, then people go out and rush and buy it, and that makes it a little bit worse. So really, okay, so I believe like during the lockdown, the prices, so toilet paper ran out. Now, one way that I know that the government instituted toilet paper price controls, right? What does that mean? Toilet paper price controls. Anybody know what that means? Eric, what does that mean?
I'm guessing that it means like regulation on the price of toilet paper. It can't go that high.
Yeah, right, exactly. So normally when something is in high demand, what's going to happen to the price?
It's gonna go up.
It's going to go way up. It's going to go way up. Think about the tulip mania, right? When something is in high demand, things go way up. Gold and silver. When gold and silver is in high demand in the 70s, after 1971, Nixon cut the gold window, the price went way up. So when things are in high demand, normally this is how the market responds to an increase in demand. Because remember, what do we say about resources? Resources are what?
Scarce.
Resources are scarce and limited, right? So if the demand goes way up, all of a sudden resources or the prices have to adjust to the new demand. And in order for the prices to adjust to achieve equilibrium, the price must go up. And if the price does not go up, if it's prevented from going up, let's say if the government passed a law saying you cannot increase the price of toilet paper, then what's going to happen to the toilet paper? What's going to happen?
I don't know.
If the government says you cannot raise the toilet paper price, what's going to happen to toilet paper? What happened? Did you see toilet paper on the shelves?
It will never be bought.
No. Did you see toilet paper on the shelves during the lockdown?
There's like none left.
There was like none left. There's a shortage. This is what happens every time the government involves itself in the economy. There's distortions and disruptions in supply, and so shortages frequently occur, right? Whenever there's like a hurricane, I don't know if you guys you see on the news, when there's a hurricane in a particular part of the United States, what does the government do? A lot of people, what do they get when there's a big natural disaster? What do they try to get?
Currency to repair.
Okay, currency to repair, but also, okay, Ava, what do people try to get after a natural disaster like a hurricane?
Get the resources back.
Okay, but what kind of specific resources? Gasoline, right? You guys know, you guys ever see every time a hurricane or a natural disaster occurs somewhere in the United States, let's say after there was Hurricane Katrina, and I think it was that was Louisiana, right, Paul? Yeah, Hurricane Katrina. And then there was Hurricane Irene. All these different hurricanes. What happens? The local government say you cannot raise gas prices, and what eventually happens? Shortages, and you see long lines of people outside gas stations waiting to get their gas because there's not enough to go around because the government does not allow prices to achieve equilibrium, right? So what ends up happening is one person or a few people buy up as much gas as they can. Because why? Because they know that everybody wants it or needs it. And then what do they go around and do? They go around and sell it online and they jack up the price because they know people will buy it, right? So anyway, whatever happens anyway, the prices go up anyway, even if the government doesn't allow the prices to go up. Yeah, Rui, you gonna say something?
Actually, never mind, sir.
Okay, does that make sense about price controls, about why that harms the market? Every time the government steps in and says you cannot raise your prices because people need it, that is a problem, right? Because higher prices, what does higher prices incentivize? What does that produce? What does that encourage in people to do? What? Higher prices. What do you think? What does higher prices encourage people to do? Ava.
To save up to get whatever they're getting.
Right, to conserve resources, right? So if you're in a post-hurricane situation, and the price of water goes from like $3 a bottle to like $10 a bottle, are you going to buy water and just water your lawn with it? What do you think? No, you won't. You're going to conserve. You're going to think, do I really need this water? Right? Or if the price of gasoline is allowed to go up, you're going to think, do I really need this gasoline? Right? So in emergency situations like that, price gouging, what they call price gouging, is really the market adjusting to increase demand. And what does that do? That creates an incentive for businesses to come in to that area that desperately need those resources. Let's say, for example, water. If water is like $10 a bottle in a post-hurricane situation, that incentivizes people to buy water in other places. This is what people were doing, by the way. They bought water in other places, and then for cheap, and then they drove into the what do you call it, the disaster area, and they sold it to the people because they need water, right? And the more people do that, and then as more and more water comes available, it pushes the price back down to normal levels, right? So it's the market always trying to achieve equilibrium, All right. So this is something, I don't know if you guys heard about this guy. This happened like, I think this is like a few years ago. Everybody know what an EpiPen is? Anybody know what an EpiPen is? What's an EpiPen?
I have some just in case my peanut allergy. I mean, I don't have such a major nut allergy, but just in case.
Okay. So but what does an EpiPen do?
Once you get like a serious allergic reaction, like your throat is closing, you just like use it and like put it into your skin. Like I forgot something, you inject whatever it is into your skin and it helps.
Right. So it helps with allergic reactions or anaphylactic reactions, right? And so this guy, I believe this guy, like he was the CEO of some company that made EpiPens, and he raised the price of his product, and everybody was going crazy because people who need EpiPens, they're like, what the hell? But then you think about, you think about what the state does all the time, right? The state through currency creation, through theft and which is taxation, and war, which is destruction of resources, destruction of wealth. All of this makes things more scarce and increases the price, and yet people don't really think about that all that often. And what this guy does. So a lot of times people blame business owners, right, for a lot of what's wrong in the world. Like going back to the hurricane situation, if a person is charging $10, somebody would say, you're so greedy we need water. You're so greedy. Give it to me for less than $10, right? But he's going to say the demand is so much higher. If the price was normal, again, for water, there's going to be a quick shortage. People are just going to buy it up, and then they're going to sell it again and they're going to raise the price anyway and sell it back to people and make a profit, right? And and what is profit again? It's just people basically solving other people's problems, right? Having a business, solving people's problems, and also providing resources to where it's needed most, right? So it's very important. Prices. I can't stress the importance of prices enough. All right. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions about what we talked about? What do you guys think? What do you guys think about prices? Ava, you have a question? Oh, wait, you're on mute. There you go.
Yeah, oh, sorry. My question is like, why I don't really understand this. Like, what does he mean by raise the price of everything through inflation, theft, and war? Meh.
because when the government tampers with the economy, when the government raises prices of basically inflation is raising the price of everything. This guy just raised the price of his product, right? Inflation is when the government, through currency creation, through the government creating currency, right, through the central bank, they raise the price of everything, right? You would think people would be outraged about that, but people are not. People are not outraged about inflation. Inflation is basically money in your hand, and you're losing or currency in your hand. You're losing purchasing power every single day, right? And your parents work hard for their income, for their currency, and if you save in currency, you're being lost every single day, right? So this is a big problem, inflation, big problem. And of course, the government just taking people's things in terms of taxation. Okay. That's another thing. So yeah, so this is all the thing this is saying is that the problems that the state produces are nothing compared to what a business would cause, the problems that a business causes. And I don't even think this is a problem either, right? Because again, if his price of his product was really that high, and he could make a lot of profit, then guess what? What would that incentivize? What would that encourage other people to do?
Short in there, like other people
Lower their prices so they can make me more money.
Right. It would encourage. Yeah, Berlin. What are you gonna say?
Why does Yassine look like that?
Why does what?
Yassine had purple on his lips and green on his eyebrows.
Who?
Yassine.
Oh, Yassine. I don't know. But yeah. So what does this encourage? This encourages if the price of his product is just too high, what does that encourage other entrepreneurs to enter the market, produce this product for cheap, and then basically benefit from his exorbitant prices, right? And then they will have a thriving business as a result. So there's really no way you can steal from somebody in the market, right? Because why? Because people are not forced to buy from you. That's the thing, right? That's the thing. There's always choices. People always have choices in the market. All right. So any other questions before we go?
No.
Yeah. Does that make sense? The importance of prices? Yeah. Makes sense to everybody? All right. Excellent.
Yes.
All right. Good class. So yeah, we went a little bit over, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. And I will see you guys. I will see you guys next week for another great class. All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye.